guys, so today we're going to be working on the Rachel O'Leary Scape challenge. I do have this leftover tank from when we adjusted our fish room. I have a bunch of leftover driftwood, rock, substrate, so it worked out perfectly. I hope I can make something pretty nice with what I have since it was from a bunch of different tanks, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So my original idea was to make a rimless tank, which I've done before in a 5-gallon, but spoiler alert, didn't work so well on a 10. Luckily, we have plenty of tanks laying around the apartment, probably 20 of them of different sizes and shapes, so it kind of worked out, except this one had so much silicone it was breaking through our tools before the edge would even come off. So as the sun set on that idea, quite literally, I very defeatedly decided to use an actual rimless, which, did I mention I was very defeated by this? So I used a combination of leftover Eco-Complete that we had from taking down our tanks, as well as some cheap Petco black sand, and we have countless bags of that always laying around, thankfully. So these are a bunch of different decorations from all of our tanks, which I like individually and I like together, but I was really struggling with getting the height that I wanted for this tank, and it just, no matter what I did, it seemed to look kind of ridiculous. I figured maybe it might look okay if I had some tall enough plants, but I really wasn't feeling it. And that's when I was reminded that we actually have a bunch of dragonstone from taking down our 55 recently. And by recently, I mean the dragonstone is literally still wet. Don't worry, Harvest is just getting an upgraded home, not going away. So I loaded it up with a lot more sand, and started adding as much dragonstone as I could fit from the 55. Which honestly turned out exactly how I would have wanted it. So I wasn't lucky on a light, so I took a 10-gallon old lid and removed the LEDs from it, and used some random scrap that I had laying around and hot glue, and actually made a pretty jank, but sufficient light for the tank. So now that I had it all in place, it was time to fill her up, and it's nothing special, just tap water and making sure I had some paper towels in the way of filling it, so that way it didn't just launch sand all over the tank. And I also had one of these tiny filters laying around that Thomas had bought off of Amazon to see how it turned out, and it didn't work as well as he wanted it for his tank, so it's mine now. And it honestly fit perfectly. I still can't get over how that one worked out, but I loved how it turned out. The only thing it needed left was plants, which I waited to the next day for Tom to take over since I'm basically useless when it comes to plants. So he decided on Monte Carlo for the carpet, some Rotala rotundifolia in the back, as well as 2 small red plants, which are the Ludwigia arcuata and Rotala Vietnam Hra. Please forgive any mispronunciations on that. Like I said, plants and I don't get along. But I can't wait to see how this turns out as soon as this grows out. I'm considering putting a DIY CO2 on it, but we'll see. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you all, if you have the means available, decide to take on this challenge yourself and try to enjoy it as much as possible. Thanks. Bye. Tell me now.